If you like the content that we're pushing out, please like, share, and of course subscribe. And let us know in the comments what you think about our videos. Like, why would you watch it and not tell us what's going on? And I hope to see you later on. Peace out. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to another Alternative Factuals video. Now, remember, if you like our content, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for any of the videos that you wanted us to do in the future, please let us know. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about Eobard Thawne, who was born in the year 2151, also known as the original Reverse Flash in the comics as well as in the TV show. But today I'm going to be talking about Eobard Thawne in the TV show The Flash, but I will be making references to his character in the comic book so that way you can understand how they're related in terms of the inspiration that was drawn for the show. Now in this show, Eddie Thawne is actually a time criminal and he is the absolute arch enemy of Barry Allen the Flash. Now he has been obsessed with the Flash since the 21st century where he originated from, and then he's actually one of the people who orchestrated the whole event in which that created himself and the Flash and all of the speedsters, which is a pretty trippy experience when you think about it. It's like a temporal causality loop, I believe that's what it's called, but I don't want to get too deep into that because I am not no astrophysicist or anything like that. I don't know any quantum theories deep like that. Yeah, that's definitely not my forte. But after his first initial contact, he actually learned that he himself was destined to become the Flash's archenemy and grew to despise him as a hero, attempting to prove his superiority over him as the Reverse Flash. So he became the opposite of his former idol, basically out of this weird kind of destiny or destined thing that he knew that he had to be better than him. And even in the TV show, they never really clarified what that reason was. It was just simply because he had to. Time demanded that he had to be his enemy. So ever since then, the two speedsters battled each other throughout many years and throughout all of time, several occasions, but neither one of them seemed to be strong enough or fast enough to defeat each other. Like, they just had to exist. Each of them had to exist in order to counter each other, thus the Flash and the Reverse Flash. After learning the Flash's identity, of course, Eobard traveled back to the time to kill Barry as a child and erase his foe from existence, but he was thwarted by the future version of the child that he was actually attempting to kill, thus putting all these events forward and creating everything that seemed to have happened in the first place. Meaning he came from the 21st century all the way to the past when Barry Allen was a child. In order to kill him, the future version of Barry Allen came to the past, stopped him, which also in retrospect caused the death of his mother, the arrest of his father, which then caused Barry to go to school and become a forensic scientist. And then after he became a forensic scientist, then he got struck by lightning, which turned him into the Flash, which eventually he encountered Eobard Thawne, and which obviously creates a cycle all over again. So literally these two were destined to be enemies. They have no choice. Time absolutely demands that they actually be enemies. There is no other way that it can be written unless some sort of even more powerful force step in and rewrite time where they're still able to access the Speed Force, but they are no longer enemies. But even from what we've seen in the comic books, even though sometimes the origin of Eobard Thawne has been changed throughout the years ever since its creation, he actually still remained the enemy of the Flash for many various different reasons, but all we know is that he has to be Barry Allen's enemy. Now what we've seen so far is that even after that whole Flashpoint paradox thing in the season of, what was that, season 3, we actually saw that Barry was keeping him hostage. Now what we didn't realize about that whole thing is technically he was supposed to be dead at that point already, but because Barry Allen changed the timeline, that caused another version of him to exist, which made him actually cease his death, and we saw a different version of him in the Legends of Tomorrow as well. Now what makes this very, very interesting, very weird and trippy too, like I said previously in the video, is that Eobard Thawne has existed through several points in time in history because he's so heavily integrated into the time stream, and because of the Speed Force, it allows him to be aware when different versions of him, past, present, you know, whatever the case may be, different versions of him stop to exist or start to erase, which means he was able to outrace his death for some time actually in the Legends of Tomorrow in the last season that we saw previously when we saw the Black Flash. Now no matter what time, no matter when, no matter where, no matter what you do, Eobard Thawne seems he cannot be destroyed, not just simply because of his connection to the Speed Force, but like I said, he is just too heavily integrated into the timeline, and time demands that he be an enemy to Barry Allen, so that future cannot be changed, and that's something that cannot be altered. So if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe, and let me know what you think about this idea that Eobard Thawne is absolutely immortal, because even in the comics, if you read any Flash comic books that have to deal with him, you will understand that Eobard Thawne has existed before, after, and during, and he keeps coming back no matter what you do. I can't even count how many times he's supposedly died or which version of him died, but he came back. Even recently in the Flash Rebirth, he was killed by Dr. Manhattan, but somehow there was another version of him that was fully aware that he was killed, but he knew at that point in time that he had to go grab Wally and Iris West, but that's a whole different thing. I would encourage you to read it, but I'll leave that little description and I'll leave that little text for the comic books in the description below for you to check out if you're curious. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe and leave a comment down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out, Zaddy.